Hello, my name is Daniel Bean, and today is my final speech. My final speech is about cars, but more specifically, muscle cars, American muscle. First off, I'd like to say thank you to my audience for being here and letting me talk about American muscle cars. Whether it is new or old, it all comes down to money. Money talks. I grew up in a home where we were exposed to a lot of different things than other kids who are my age who didn't have the experience I did. My mom and dad were born in the 60s, but so much has changed since then, especially cars. If you know me, you know that I love American muscle cars. My favorite car is a 1969 Dodge Charger RT. The 69 Charger came with a 383 big block or a 440 big block Mopar V8 engine. Or you had the option to upgrade even further and equip it with a 426 Hemi engine that came with 425 horsepower. In 1969, the Charger could be bought brand new for $3,200. Today, a fully restored 1969 Charger could be bought for roughly $35,000 and upwards of $200,000. The Charger made its hit when it was used in a 1979 TV series, The Dukes of Hazzard. In The Dukes of Hazzard, the car was a 1969 Dodge Charger. It was orange with a Confederate flag painted on the top. It had the words General Lee painted over the doors and the number 01 on each door. American muscle not only refers to my 1969 Dodge Charger, but there is a very wide variety of American muscle cars. Muscle car definition is an American term used to refer to a variety of high-performance automobiles. The Merriam-Webster Dictionary defines muscle car as any of a group of American-made two-door sport cars with powerful engines designated for high-performance driving. Now, I would like to take a moment and give each of our audience a piece of paper of actual scans from actual newspaper clippings from the sale cars of the era. As you can see those today. As you can see those today, these cars were priced cheap.
You a newspaper clipper? And you a newspaper clipper? And you one? Thank you. And you one? And you one?
Alright. As you will see from the cars that I have shown you, most of the cars were bought brand new for about $3,000. Now that sounds like nothing to us today, as in money. But back in the 60s and 70s, that was a lot of money. Most of them had powerful V8 engines. The engine was the groundwork for most of the cars. There were also different types of American muscle cars made, ranging from Chargers to Challengers to Roadrunners, from Mustangs to GTOs to Chevelles to Camaros to Barracudas, and so many more. But they all have one thing in common. They were all considered American muscle cars, and they turned heads no matter where they were. The roar of an engine can take any person back to a time and place where they can remember the same roar and the same sound of that engine. The thing that people don't realize about cars from this era were that maybe they only cost a couple $1,000s, but to somebody today, they're very expensive. Cars today, we can hardly lay our eyes on these vehicles because they are so rare and they are so unique. Not only are they expensive, but they are also rare. To find a pristine 1996 Chevy Chevelle is very hard to find today. But to find a 1969 pristine Dodge Charger isn't as hard as to finding a 66 Chevelle. Parts aren't always available like they were 40 years ago. Money is the root to having vehicles like these. Muscle cars were used in a lot of movies and TV shows. Like when you think of a 1977 T-top Pontiac Trans Am, most people think of Smokey and the Bandit. The top two engines used in muscle cars were 409 Chevy Big Blocks and 440 Big Block Mopar V8 engines. The average cost to build or purchase a 440 Big Block today is about $3,600 if you can find one. But engines are not the only thing that classified these muscle cars. Their two-door body styles have also played an important role in their being classified as American muscle cars. Now, as you read over your newspaper clippings, I'd like to give you an example of a muscle car. Give you one that you can hold in your hand. No. Okay. Now, as you hold in your hand, I gave my dad a 1969 Dodge Charger 500. I gave my sister, who's holding the camera, a Chevy Corvette Stingray. I gave my aunt a 1970 Pontiac Firebird. I gave my uncle a 1969 Pontiac GTO, and my mother a 1971 Plymouth Hemi Cuda. Now, these are just Hot Wheels. These are just toys. But they are models from actual cars you could have bought brand new back in the 60s and 70s. One rarity that I found is that there is a 1969 Chevy Corvette ZL1. Only 3 were produced. The first time it was ordered by a factory was by a factory worker at the Chevy, Missouri plant. The car was purchased for $10,771 in 1969, over $3,000 more than a normal Corvette in that era. And this price was only given to employees who were employees of the Chevy company. Can you imagine how much that would cost the general public to have purchased if the discounted rate was only given to 3 employees of the Chevrolet branches? The rarity of American muscle cars has gone up. American muscle cars availability is very limited in today's world. Unlike a brand new car where a company can produce them every day and meet the supply and demand of a certain vehicle. But older cars have limited quantities. The pricing for some of these cars are astronomical. Some of the pricing for these cars are upwards of $200,000. Rarity also makes restoration of the vehicle very difficult. Restoration costs about $40,000 to $60,000 to restore a vintage car. Now think about it. $60,000 for a car seems outrageous. But then you have to think about it like this. Cars are so hard to find that you can restore. The restoration price is astronomical in my opinion. But you have to think of it like this. You're paying $60,000 to restore a car. But how much did you actually pay for the car that you're about to restore? Some of these cars are worth about $60,000 that people sell them for. So you're already $120,000 over your head in a project car that you may never see product for, that you may never see an income for. Cars can change year to year. But when you think of a classic, you think American muscle. American muscle cars are rare, yes. Their body styles, engines, and availability and pricing make these cars so rare. Rarity is also quantity. One of the rarest cars out there, as I mentioned, is a 1969 Chevrolet Corvette ZL1. Only because, like I said, 3 of them were made. So the engine, the rarity, and the restoration process are all important products of the American muscle car. So just think, whether it is old or new, cars still cost money. I used therich.com, thethoughtco.com, and thehotrod.com for my sources to find the information that I used on muscle cars. So thank you for watching. I hope I gave you some solid information on muscle cars. And just remember, stay classy.